Apparently we all watched House of the Dragon, and so the question is Game of Thrones back? I'd say no, not yet. Don't get me wrong, just off of this first episode, I'm hooked for the entire season, and I do think it can get to being close, if not at the level of peak Game of Thrones, but this first episode wasn't enough. It just doesn't have the same lovable, if not intriguing characters. There's no Jon Snow, no Arya Stark, or Tyrion Lannister. Characters that were all in the first episode of Game of Thrones. The closest is the always electric Matt Smith playing Daemon Targaryen, who is a very intriguing mix of Jaime and Cersei Lannister. I also watched Bullet Train. This was not a good movie. It was at best a cheap Tarantino movie, and at worst a knockoff Guy Ritchie movie. The writing in this movie was not at all clever enough for them to choose story and dialogue over action. And the little action there was not even that special, considering the director behind this movie comes from a background in stunt work primarily. Although I will say the Hornet kill was funny as fuck. Finally, I don't know what movie the execs at Sony saw, but nothing about Bad Bunny's or Aaron Taylor Johnson's performance in this movie warrants them being leads in Spider-Man spin-offs. I also watched She-Hulk. I really thought after the release of the Wakanda Forever trailer that we were going to rebound from the pit of embarrassment that was Multiverse of Madness and Ms. Marvel. But no, She-Hulk was so meh. I usually have at least a page of thoughts on MCU shows. I had like 2 lines after this first episode. And some of the what women go through commentary felt like a beat me over the head lecture rather than it just being the message of a great story. And that leads me to The Sea Beast. Now, unless I'm forgetting something major, The Sea Beast is so far the best movie of 2022. It has it all. The visuals, the story, the characters, the action. Oh, the action is so good. Pirate Billy Butcher literally swims out of the jaws of a giant kaiju alligator. A split second later, and he would have really become Captain Crunched. I need to work on my delivery. However, what I love most about The Sea Beast is its writing. Just listen to these bars.
Spit that.
We kill him less. We don't study him.
Spit that.
Maybe you can be a hero and still be wrong.
Spit that.
The world is wide, Jacob, and you don't know everything.
Spit that.
But the book says otherwise.
But if that ain't true, then how are you supposed to know what is?
Spit that.
I don't know how the war started. Maybe all that matters is how it ends.
Spit that.
No more monster hunting!
That's called motherfucking bars!
The Sea Beast shines where She-Hulk fails. It doesn't lecture you about some narrative or message. It doesn't scream at you that racism is bad or women are disadvantaged. It just tells a great story. One that hopefully, like the ocean, moves us. I then watched Nope. First of all, that final alien design was fucking ass. But there's still a lot to love about this movie. The cinematography was amazing. The night shots, the sky shots, the way they filmed the act of looking up was so unsettling that this movie should have been called Don't Look Up. Kiki and Daniel were great. Their characters were both portrayed as very much being individuals, but also believable as a brother and sister duo that had a connection. The other characters, other than better looking, maybe not so much Dave Franco, were kind of disappointing. The cinematographer sold more than any character I've seen in a recent movie. I mean, this guy sold more than Star-Lord in Infinity War. Also, I find it hilarious that Fry's Electronics probably paid thousands to be so prominent in this movie, and now they're bankrupt, and I couldn't even go to Fry's Electronics after the movie if I had an itch to just browse around the store. I also watched Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This was a solid Saturday morning cartoon movie. As a fan of the 2008 series, especially the season where they went into the future, I got thoughts on the changes that this series has made. First of all, and I'm sure a bunch of other people have talked about this, Leonardo not being the leader makes no sense. And boneheaded Ralph is not meant to be the leader. In this version, Leo is what? The conceited, irresponsible one? And if Leo's meant to be the slack-off clown, then what does that make Mikey? You see, Making Leo not the leader just messes everything up. Also in this version, the turtles have superpowers, which I liked at first, but then they stopped being ninjas and became overpowered superheroes. Donatello Donnie is literally the Green Lantern. Back to this movie specifically though, out of all the movies that have used the tired, shiny light beam in the final act trope, this movie definitely has the most cinematic shot. Finally, I watched Green Lantern Beware My Power. This was an okay animated straight to home movie. I really liked everything they did with Jon Stewart, who me as a kid that grew up on Justice League Unlimited always saw Jon Stewart as the definitive Green Lantern. I loved how Jon wasn't a Peter Parker type of hero. He's a military veteran who wasn't fumbling around with his newfound powers. Instead, he mastered them pretty quickly. Talking about fumbling around though, this movie did nothing for Green Arrow fans. He was absolutely useless. Also, all the talk of Zeta tubes and meta genes had me expecting this.
Recognize Kid Flash B03.
The Wall Man is here! Now let's get this party started! Ted?